What in God's name is that from Stacks? Unbelievable!
Oh, what? Jumping double for Cole!
Oh, and another one! Oh, the third!
Oh my goodness, how does he do this? How does he go do it again?
What?
Oh my god, inhuman reactions!
They're trying to build pyramids, but it's no more play. Stewie's won the round. We go to overtime.
How have they done it? How have they done that? They came back all the way! All the way!
Counter-Strike might be a world of its own, but it's also an including world that brings people together across countries, continents, and origin. Here, you are not judged by your nationality or your religion or appearance, but on your abilities to play, to cooperate, and to be a part of something bigger. And that is badly needed in the world today. And in this way, you are an inspiration for the world of tomorrow.
Hi, my name's Dev the Mage. I'm mainly a Dead by Daylight streamer who enjoys a few casual games here and there. But, watch this. Fourth ball. This is about how I thought it would go. But what a lot of people don't know is when I started streaming, I streamed Counter-Strike. I wasn't particularly good, but I did have my moments. I love FPS games, and the slow, methodical gameplay really struck a chord with me. But this video essay isn't an autobiography. This is to finally put to paper one of my favorite stories to tell on stream so I can share it with the world. This essay is about one of my favorite team lineups of all time going against one of the strongest lineups of all time. About how North America won their first major in Counter-Strike history.
They just made history!
About the climb to the top of the roller coaster, only to feel the great fall.
They fucking won the major, bro!
This is about the greatest game of Counter-Strike ever played. First, in order to achieve the emotions I want you to feel, we need context. How far back to go? Well, let's start most simply. Counter-Strike is a game about two teams, the counter-terrorists and the terrorists, contesting points on a map. They contest these points with smoke grenades to conceal vision and block paths, flash grenades to blind enemies, explosive grenades to damage, and finally, each team has their own version of area denial. Molotovs for the terrorist, or Ts, and incendiary grenades for the counter-terrorist, or CTs. There's also a decoy grenade, but we'll save that for later. And that's it. There's only one other way for these two teams to contest points on the map, and that's guns. And boy, is there a lot of guns. Assault rifles, SMGs, pistols, snipers, shotguns. There's even this thing. This thing is my baby. But other than that, that's it. The terrorists win if they use these items more effectively and kill the entire enemy team or explode a bomb that spawns in on only one of the terrorists. The counter-terrorists win if they kill the entire enemy team or they defuse the bomb after it's planted. The counter-terrorists also win if the round timer reaches 0 and one of them still remains. And that's it. That's the entirety of CSGO broken down to its bare bones. We won't get into clever uses of game mechanics knowledge. Oh yeah, there's also armor in the game that affects headshot values. Did I mention it makes a sound when you hit them in the head? Did I mention some guns one-shot headshot through this armor at ridiculous lengths? And you'd be surprised which guns can do it. Then there's setups for these nades to guarantee the flashbang pops in a commonly held angle, or pop flashes, or a smoke lands perfectly cutting line of sight, or flashing through smokes. Gun recoils are different for every gun, pre-firing common at angles, certain guns do certain damage through certain textures, team coordination, using sound as a way to know where people are, map knowledge, certain textures create certain footsteps, movement values. Different body parts cause different damage to the player, certain guns we can even record this footage, identifying games by their sounds, airstrafing, counter-strafing, spray transfer, surfing, p-hopping, fake flashing, look at that decoy grenade as I told you about. I love this game, I love this game, I love this game! But, I digress. Counter-Strike is a fantastic game, despite its reputation.
Ramp, mid-side alone, ramp.
And it does have these moments of glory in its own little vacuum.
Green, what is your problem, motherfucker? Oh, man! Hey, you know, how do you?
where things really shined was the pro scene. These players took the entirety of the game's knowledge and boiled it down to a science, to the point that the things they could achieve were near superhuman. They were the ones that came up with those lineups we talked about, or pop flashes. They're the ones that came up with some of those impossible angles. So watching two people go at it who both had the aim and knowledge we talked about was a spectacle to watch. Sometimes there'd be mind games.
Comes through. He's got the bomb back. Fake plant. 15 seconds. Sees it.
Oh my
and
God.
Nails it.
Sometimes there'd be mind games to fake a mind game.
He's waiting. I think he's faking the flank here, so Forrester has to respect that he could be behind.
Now, imagine there's 5 of these guys going against 5 other guys that have the same caliber of talent. That's where teams come in. And some of them are probably names you already know. Optic Gaming, Team Liquid, Na'Vi, and our main focuses of the story, Cloud9 and FaZe. You see, not all teams were built equally. As to say, players are not built equally. Some players were pretty good.
Yes, with no armor, running straight onto the side. Can he get to safety? He manages to get out the exposed position, picks up the frag onto Alu, goes for the quick second shot. Is causing, oh my goodness, so much damage done here by Kenny S. Another frag found, and again Kenny S. 4 kills in a row.
Some players were better still.
To catch somebody peek on enemy's side, and well, that's what happens when you go around the corner. Happy with one dig. Oh, and another one! Oh, and a third! Happy! He can get another one here too, Dupree! Dupree is like sweating bullets! Happy's gonna get the quad kill in the ace! What is this?
Some players were absolute powerhouses.
Mouse's buy is going to be torn away from them very, very quickly by Scientist. Oh my God, Nico gets 3, 4! Oh my lungs, I don't believe it! Shox then has just to find one more. The molly isn't going to touch him. And what on earth has just happened? Deagle is on fire and Shox is going to walk into it as well. Nico is on fire.
Sure, every community has their Tom Brady.
Have a Molotov and another smoke, so it could be really rough for Symbol to actually get through this. He's going to throw the AWP. Oh my God, Symbol, what is happening?
Or Tom's Brady.
Flashbang actually flashed the flanker up, no idea how. C still gets the kill. It almost looked like Skadoodle had actually come out on top there. What a flick coming in. Shroud getting one another headshot. He's tapping away. Shroud. Can he do it again? He's up to 11 kills and looking for number 12. Are you kidding me? Shroud. 4 kills. Can anyone take this man down? He's got 12 and 0.
But how these teams played together is what undeniable king of having the most watched clips was Shroud.
Now I'm the king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering me. I wanna be a man cub, and stroll right into town, and be just like the other men. I'm tired of walking around. Oh,
Watch this. Watch this.
I wanna be like you. I wanna walk like you, talk like you too. You see it's true. And it's like me. And like to be human too. Oh.
Pussy. Jumping burst.
I wanna be like you. I wanna walk like you, talk like you too. You see it's true. And it's like me.
Stroud was a powerhouse. He was a single-man hurricane that could tear apart anything in its path, but he also knew how to play to the crowd.
You're right. One bullet. Dream.
So when I found out he played for Cloud9, I became interested in that team naturally. From watching them, I found other players I found really impressive and started to form an idea of how good these teams ranked against each other. They not only had Shroud, or M-Eclipse as he's known by his superfans, but a player named Nothing as well. While he might seem like your average nerdy white guy.
Well, okay, so this is for you have sore forearms. I'm assuming from gaming too much. Let's make this G-rated.
A lot of gaming.
He's been playing the game for a long time. In fact, he won his own LAN tournament, or a tournament where you have to attend physically, at only 10 years old. He was his own monster all the same. And that's the key right there. I just said it. Did you miss it? LAN tournament. Things work differently when these players play against each other physically than when they face each other online. How's that, you might ask? Well, that's because of a thing in the internet world called ping. And boy, for FPS gamers, ping sucks.
Super. What the fuck?
But even in this harsh environment, some players found a niche. They found a way to thrive. They found a way to use underhanded tactics to gain an upper hand. And no one was known for doing this better than Stewie2K.
I don't understand what's going on here.
Holy shit.
No, you didn't. No, speak to me. Come back, dude. Yeah, stay solid.
I don't understand what's going on here.
Side dead.
Stewie2K was a guy who, in our community, is so online. Could get away with anything. You name something that shouldn't work, he finds a way to do it. 1v5s? Yeah, we got that covered. Disgusting headshots? Yep. Jumping headshots? Clear. But he was still an onliner. This is because he was up-and-coming talent that hadn't really seen a whole lot of LAN play. Why am I telling you this? Because in 2016, Cloud9 had parted ways with Sean Garris, a longtime player and someone who had led them as the in-game leader of some time. Only for Cloud9 to turn around and sign who else but Stewie2K. You see, an in-game leader is a rule that someone takes upon themselves to call the shots, if you will. Essentially, figure out how the team will achieve victory in the next round. While most of the time this either comes down to an egomaniac being the only person talking, to two egomaniacs arguing, or even worse, 5 egomaniacs. Could you imagine?
You're alone. Please, don't do it. Just don't do it. I don't care if you think it's...
I don't care if you think it's a good play. Go do it again.
Dude, this kid's crying.
Or even just a simple rush B, no stop. Someone will ultimately call the shots in every game of Counter-Strike. For professional teams, however, this is a bit different. Much like football has playbooks, so too does Counter-Strike. Also, there's coaches, but we won't touch on that. And the quarterback calling the shots after the plays decided was Sean Garris. He had knowledge and knew what he was talking about, so losing him was a big deal. Nothing took on the in-game leader position or IGL, but Sean was still a big loss. And when Cloud9 signed Stewie as the replacement, it was looking like a GG. I mean, he was online and had little LAN experience. How could he possibly help a team that was so inconsistent on LAN? But then he showed us. Stewie2K turned out to be actually quite consistent, even on LAN. He showed us he could perform with the big names that were heavy hitting at that time, and boy, were there some real Doomslayer types. More on that later. He even had great chemistry with the people on his team as they all played against and with each other online. While this addition was great and helped improve morale a bit, they started to win online tournaments, but they still couldn't perform at the absolute highest scale. What was this scale? Well, for that, we have to expand out a bit. Let's think more global. You see, up until this point, we've only talked about a few players, some of whom are well known outside the community. What do some of the best players in the world look like? Well,
What? Jumping double from Cold! And Fnatic are starting to crumble. What's going on?
okay, bring it down. Those were some good players. There were players so good at the game, it was scary. Here's the Doomslayer himself.
Back quickly by Tabs, and next comes in with a kill. Nico round towards fourth, it gets 3 and the 4th. Perfectly placed from Nico.
Some people so cold and calculating, they can win a 1v5 at a LAN in front of thousands of live viewers and millions of online viewers. And just high-five it off like it's nothing.
What a frag there coming in from Rain. He's going to be pushing into the bomb site. The bomb is on his back. He's got the smoke for cover, so he can make the approach to the bomb site. He does have some time as well. He's going to try to get the frag onto the flanking player. The game sense from this man is unreal. There's still 2 more players to find, though. Rain, he's going to get another one. MBK goes down. He's created a 1-on-1. He's got so much time to use as well. He's going to make his way back towards the middle position. And he's going to try to trick his opponent right now. Apex though, oh my goodness gracious me, Rain is an absolute monster.
Some players were so good with an op, they could flick it so fast to you, you'd blink and miss it.
All the smokes, all the Molotov requires, and those are 2 seasons waiting for them. This round is certainly not over yet, especially Guardian waiting for them. Here they come, nades rain in. Here come the bodies as well. Guardian just put 1 down. Can he find a second? You better believe he can. Not another. Surely! Guardian, stop it! Guardian shuts down 4, and the dream is real as he melts all 5. Mouse sports are no more.
Some players so smart at the game, they can think rounds ahead of you while staying on their toes and still aiming better.
This is Gutsy here. He's going for it all. He doesn't want just the plant advance. He wants the meat and the potatoes.
Gonna catch this player in the back with a deagle. We saw a nightmare yesterday. He got CSGO'd fully. There's nothing wrong about that. Shank between the shoulder blades. Money in the bank, bomb planted, and an AUG for good measure. He's got the smoke. He can hold one of these angles away as he retreats. Now, the bomb's not planted for him. If he holds down on this, he's going to have to wait for 10 seconds. Carrigan's not buying it. He is holding position. He is taking all the risk.
Players who are so good, they've won the most prestigious award in this game more times than any other person.
And nothing less for Happy to make it out. I don't think there's any chance. Flusher looking to end this. It's going to be a 3rd title for Fnatic. They win a 3rd major championship in global offensive.
Wow, and what a way to finish it.
So, what is that prestigious award? What is the Super Bowl to this endeavor of ours? Well, the Major, of course. The Major is where our NFL, Valve, hosts massive venues and fills it with only the best of the best teams. These teams battle it out for days on end. All the while, it's professionally casted, analyzed, and celebrated by millions of both live and online viewers. And increasingly so. Actually, by 2018, it had over 1.3 million online viewers on Twitch alone. And everyone wanted a piece of the pie. But Valve always made sure to invite only the best personalities. Hell, some of the greatest plays of all time aren't because of what players did, mainly because the caster of the game had such an incredible reaction. I know you want examples, so here you go. I can't think of a pithy segue into it, so enjoy my favorite caster moments.
And now it's all on Guardian. Will he try and hold the AWP? He gets the shot onto Apex. Is he going to try and go huge here? Kenny S on site, straight in his face. Doesn't hit the no-scope. Doesn't hit the pistol. Oh, for the nine! Kenny S! Would you believe it? The balls on that man to go for that play and make it 5-3 Navi.
To just Snacks. Does find one. Oh, no. Let's not leave him out of this. The Big Apple and Snacks is hungry. He's got 1 kill already on the USP. Low HP as well on Guardian and Flamey. He's trying to bait them out, trying to get them into one-on-ones as he dances back and forth between the box. What a shot on Simple! Oh, Guardian, bye-bye! And it's on to Flamey. He's tapped it. Flamey's got a big... What in God's name is that from Snacks? Unbelievable!
Back to a 2-on-2. That bomb so far take. They gotta move quick right now. They're going for it. The defuse is already happening. Hiko, are you kidding me? He's gonna go for it. They win the round. Hiko picks up a triple and Cloud9 win it. What?
That could be the difference maker here in this round. Dennis is spamming up through the bench, leaving Coldzera in a 1-on-4. There's the first. Looking for a second, he connects it. Oh, and he gets a third as well. Surely he's not going to pull this one off. Oh, Coldzera, the man, the myth, the beast. What?
Shot for nothing. Nice frag from him, but it's going to be all down to Stewie. Able to. Oh my God! What the shit? Pardon my French. I apologize, but that spray transfer was probably the most insane spray transfer I've ever seen.
Now it's Hiko, 1-on-5. Freiburg has already made his mark, made sure that they won that round. Hiko is going to go for it. Freiburg will eventually fall, but it is too late. Gerard is going to be waiting. Hiko charges in, doesn't check. Oh, what? Oh my God! Inhuman reactions!
Gambit to send even more firepower there, bring more HP.
This is so smart. Oh, this is huge. Doji's throwing a nade into the corner just as the bomb's going to go off. They're both going to go down. Get brained on. Doja with the dunk. That's so smart.
There aren't any for Sponsorless. They didn't have enough money or they've already used them. There's one Molotov going in now. The kills start to trickle in for Sponsorless on that CT side. It will once again just be Hiko. Is he about to pull off the Alamo? Oh, he's got 3 from behind quad. Can he find a 4th? He gets the 4th. He's on for the ace and he gets it. What?
Oh my God. Did that just happen?
I feel like I'm trapped. I'm trapped inside of a meme right now. Inhuman reactions.
What?
I need a tactical.
Gets caught trying to trade out a gun. Fugly finding another one. Jason R trades it back, and now it's Summit in the 1v1 to try and close this out against Fugly. Fugly playing it aggressively now, but Summit's gonna clutch it, and Slice will close out map number 1, 16-11. Oh wait, what?
Okay then.
No! What happened? Oh no! Summit! No!
Oh, that is heartbreaking.
And now again, as we've seen so many times before, it's down to Hiko, but against 4, is it really possible? We do have a few players quite tagged up here from Luminosity, so Hiko definitely not going down without a fight. Oh wow, there's the first fast frag. Hiko gets a double. There's still 2 players left. They got no health on them. 13 and 3. Hiko creeping around the site now. There's still time. Oh my goodness, how does he do this? How does Hiko do it again?
But ultimately, you'll slowly find your favorites. And while a lot of people will pick Semler and Anders as the best duo of all time, mainly because Anders has so much time invested in the community and has some of the most beloved memes of all of CSGO history. See Inhuman Erections. Some of the most iconic plays of all of CSGO history are because these two right here are the ones that casted it. But I found my favorites in 2 casters known as James and Dan, or James Bardolph and DDK. While they mostly spent their times being silly together, they really knew how to play off each other. especially during the most intense parts. Okay, let's bring it back. What does all this have to do with the greatest game of Counter-Strike ever played? Well, that's because the greatest game of Counter-Strike takes place during the major finals against a team of the 5 extraordinary gentlemen I showed you previously. Remember them? And that team was called FaZe, and they were dominating. They were the best players in the world, assembled under one team, and they knew it. They were untouchable and a guaranteed shoe-in for a major final winner that year, if it hadn't been for one little dark horse. And who is that dark horse? Well, one could assume it's Cloud9, since that's who you were introduced to in the beginning, but you'd only be partially right. See, I've only shown you 3 of the members of the team, and that's for good reason. You see, to bring you up to speed, Cloud9 in 2016 was Shroud, Nothing, Stewie2K, a player called Freakazoid, who, while a good player all to his own, isn't a focus for us, and a 5th member who's possibly the most important character of the story, Skadoodle. Skadoodle was the team's opper, and being a pretty good opper myself, I decided that Skadoodle was my first favorite player. Sure, Shroud was the king of Reddit, but Skadoodle always was consistent, even on LAN, and he was fast. Like, really fast. Like, wrist-breaking fast.
I'm looking for someone to hold, someone to care, someone who's there. I try to find someone who's me and knows how I be. 'Cause take it from me, I don't wanna be lonely.
So, okay, we know 4 of the 5 players you need. Who was the last person? Well, that's why I said partially right. See, we've only met 2 of the final members of the team in 2018, Stewie2K and Skadoodle. Shroud left because he was rich from streaming and Nothing retired, as a lot of people expected to happen that year. So the 2 best players, one might think. But here's the thing. Shroud was the king of Reddit when he played CSGO, sure. But he moved on to other games like PUBG, and apparently that's it because his Discord said no one watches him anymore. No, for real. Here's the message. Anyways, dead streamers aside, we need heavy hitters to replace Shroud and Nothing, as they were so strong. So, who do we pick? Enter the Prince of Reddit. Tarek, who goes by the in-game name Tarek. Tarek was another onliner who had started to see some popularity around this time and was seen as a great player, and he even had a little bit of LAN experience. He had great plays himself, but because he was going against Shroud, he never saw much popularity. But with Shroud moving on to the other games, who was left to fill the void? Well, Tarek, of course.
This
Not on it, not on it. Pushing.
Going back for the goal.
And Cloud9 must have saw something in him too. So they gave him a contract and he accepted. So, Terricus 3, who were the last two? Well, you've already met them. Here they are. But they aren't pushovers. You see, these guys knew what they were doing. And let's be clear here. This is Skadoodle's team. Skadoodle had, up to that point, been the longest standing member of Cloud9 since 2015. No one else on the team had that much commitment to it besides him, which is part of what made him the main character of the story. You see, the major is no joke. It's a really long process, but I'll explain it as plainly as I can. You see, the major has 3 stages, and it's honestly a lot more than I'm willing to get into, but Esports Talk has a great video on it, and you can go check it out in the description below. But imagine you have to go through 3 stages, and the second stage is the people who won the year before at the stage above them. So, you may go up against a team who is the literal best team in the world in order to progress. Cloud9 haven't been able to get past stage 2 in years, and Skadoodle had been through it all. So, he gets the special mention. But all these players are incredibly talented, as they are. And together they made the Cloud9 as they are meant to be. And they were genuinely a really strong team that year. In fact, they were so strong that year that they earned an invitation to the second stage of the major. So, we now have the stage set. We're at Boston, North America, and there isn't a crowd yet, but there will be. After all, the city in the United States have been chosen to be the hosted city, and there was something special. Not only had Cloud9 finally made it to the second stage, which hadn't happened in some time, but Team Liquid, another American team, had also made it that far. And 2 NA teams at the same time was pretty unheard of for a major. Now, you might be wondering why I'm focusing so hard on the fact that it's North American, but it's actually pretty important. See, North America, that is Canada and United States, had really heavy hitters, but not a lot of players are willing to move to a different continent to be able to play with the same team, especially with how early in e-gaming we were at the time. So a lot of really talented players had to compete with each other to end up at the global scale. While EU players still had to compete at a regional level to earn their place, they were still the entirety of the EU globally. So, logically speaking, had the majority of the talent in the professional world of Counter-Strike. Since North America is only 3 countries and the EU is 27, statistically, they would have more majors. But America had still not won a single major. But this was our time to show them. We finally had 2 really good teams here, and they looked like they could hold their own. FaZe was looking tough, and Astralis would go on to win the next 3 majors after this, but North America, and especially us, just Cloud9 fans and lovers of the game in general, we arrive at the second stage, or otherwise known as the Legends stage. Cloud9 had to win 5 games in a best-of-1 format against 5 different teams. We didn't know the teams yet, but I was hopeful. Cloud9 was up against Astralis in set 4, but had the luck of drawing Space Soldiers to set 2 and Vega Squadron to set 5. Those were 2 very weak teams that Cloud9 had a real chance of winning against, almost 70%. As long as they get those 2 near guaranteed wins, all we need to do is not lose set 1 against G2 or set 3 against Virtus Pro. We could let Astralis win set 4, after all, they were looking nearly unstoppable right now. Eventually, game 1 happened, and we're up against G2, and boy, do they look good this year. Kenny S, one of the fastest oppers in the world, Shocks the tank, NBK, aka Natural Born Killer. Genuinely a tough ass to survive against, but Cloud9 could do it. It wouldn't be easy, but maybe they could. They chose Cache as the map, which could have possibly ended in our favor, but no, Cloud9 ultimately could mount no offense, so it ended 16-8. Oh yeah, by the way, games are best of 30, and there's as many overtimes as it takes until one team can win 4 of 6. That's fine. That's within the calculations. Next game is against Space Soldiers, who, sure, have Xantares, who is known for doing this.
Dozy will continue. Early B on his own. With 4 plays for Gambit towards A. Xantares, what was that?
But not really an issue, right?
But maybe the water is as well.
That's a nice initial pick from Xantares, getting warm. Getting the blood in those hands. And he's just going to just wreck absolutely everybody. 4 quick kills from Xantares.
Right?
There we go, you killed someone.
There's the first one, the trade frag, just absolutely destroyed.
That second one was tight.
Yeah, that is impressive, isn't it?
Oh, Major's got the walls on. 10-3.
Ultimately, Stewie had little to no impact in that game, and being a constant 4v5 was hard to do against any team. In fact, he didn't do as bad in the last game, but stat-wise, wasn't much better. It was understandable, as Stewie had never been on a stage this close to the ultimate prize before. The nerves were maybe getting to him, so he couldn't perform like he could online in the comfort of his own home. In fact, that was true for most of the cast that wasn't Skadoodle. Rush and Tarek were old Optic gaming buddies, sure, but they never made it this far. Automatic was from Team Solo Mid, a well-known company, but had also never been this far. In fact, the only person that had was Skadoodle. And watching them be 0-2, 1 loss away from being out of the major, was heartbreaking for me. So I stopped watching them entirely. After all, Team Liquid was 1-1 with a favorable matchup coming soon. So all they had to do was sneak in one more win and we'd be off to the major finals with the North American team. Not my original choice, but hey, it was better than watching Cloud9 inevitably lose to Astralis and be kicked out. Team Liquid didn't even have to face Astralis if the stars aligned, so all on board the Team Liquid train. It's like a train and Liquid. Choo-choo! Let's go! And they're out. All right. Lost the Vegas Squadron to go 1-3. Nice. Well, here we are at the end of the tale. But something happened that day. Little did I know, in the background, someone was working. Someone was toiling away. Someone was working and burning the wick at both ends. Skadoodle was cooking something up. Somehow, Cloud9 had managed to beat both Virtus Pro and Astralis. As absurd as it was, Cloud9 had managed to double upset and remain in the standings for a major attempt. And the final game was against Vegas Squadron, the team who had just beaten Team Liquid. North America's only other team anyone else had left to consider had stolen our hope. And now would they steal our pride? No. Actually, it was the opposite. A complete slaughter. And who else had finally woken up but Stewie 2K himself? In fact, the whole team had woken up, and there seemed to be no weak links, just teammates working off of each other. And with that win, we were off to the live show. This is where the major truly began. The champion stage. To be here was to guarantee your chance at a shot at the title next year, and North America was invited. And who else gave us the key to the mailbox itself but Cloud9? I couldn't have been happier. While we did have a lot of heavy hitters to go through, namely SK Gaming, who had Cold Zera, a man with a play so iconic, they made a permanent addition to the game because of it. How does Cloud9 win against all of this? Well, by playing really good Counter-Strike, of course. Brackets were in, and we could not have been happier. We go up against G2 again in the first round, but now things are different. Now we play 3 maps, and the first to win 2 maps is the winner. So we play the coin flip game to decide our first map, and it's Mirage. Perfect. That's one of our best maps, and if we play well, maybe we can squeak out a win. Oh, yep, that'll work. Oh, and you close out the second map too? Wow, that was their map choice, and we don't do well on Cobblestone at all. maybe Cloud9 can take it all the way this year. In fact, it's time to really prove it. Our next opponent is SK Gaming, and we know who coldzera is. But then there's also Fallen. This guy.
Dara didn't know what the hell was going on, but the T's are reacting fast as team kills coming in. Fallen actually gets seized as well. This kill is there. It's going to be Guardian. Now it's time to fall back, and it's Fallen going to be capitalizing there as well. As I said, you've won the round at that point. Why are you giving your AWP away? But still, Fallen battling on here. It's going to be a 3-on-1 situation. Make this really interesting, you know.
5 seconds, he knows it.
Yeah.
He's going to get that bomb down. Right in the nick of time, and Na'Vi are going to be sitting there quite literally on the opposite side of the map. And he is just waving a flag saying, come and get me. 17 points of health in a dream. This would be an ace clutch from Fallen.
I'm believing.
You're a bit of a believer. Would you suggest that you don't want to stop believing?
Why don't you cast around?
Okay, tags up. 1. He's going to get... Oh! I'm starting to believe as well, Henry, because he's gone and taken Flaming. Oh, Fallen! Stop blowing my mind! This is going to be absolute madness. A round that we will forget, because there goes Zeus. Saving the day for Na'Vi, but could you stop? He's actually got away with it. Zeus is out of the round.
No way.
Oh
He's
my God,
won the
Fallen
round.
has done this. I thought Zeus had time, but no. Luminosity.
I told you. You've just got to believe sometimes, Alex.
Who is a menace all to himself. But it really all depends on what maps we get. The maps were key in these things. Being able to deny your opponent's best map and achieve a map favorable for you was key to winning. It made sense. Some teams got really good at high playtime maps to ensure that they always stay competitive, while other teams choose to highly specialize and choose maps that aren't played as often to always guarantee a win. But the best teams in the world practice each map as many times as possible. And our domination of Mirage isn't stopping. Of course, as mentioned before, we lose Cobble, but SK Gaming take us to Inferno, and we have a 50% win rate on that map, so we flip the coin. What I haven't told you is statistics so far. Cloud9 wins Mirage every time they play it. They are, in this year, insanely good at this map. But on Cobblestone, SK Gaming is king. Plus, Cloud9 don't like Cobblestone anyhow. This 1-to-1 was expected. However, I at one point saw SK Gaming take away a certainty from me. Remember this spray about coldzera? This spray was put here because this was the most notable play at a major. Valve does this sometimes. They'll add in some graffiti or objects to solidify them forever as memories in the game itself. Awesome, right? But this spray is when North America's dreams were dashed the year prior. When Team Liquid was reverse swept into choking a lead and losing the farthest a North American team had ever made it before. But now this was it. This was the final stage. But this year was different. Cloud9 didn't fumble the bag and closed out quite handedly on map 3. But now, this was it. This was the final stage. This was now officially the furthest a North American team had ever come to a major win. Just 32 rounds of victory away from making Counter-Strike history. Skadoodle and the weight of every Twitch chatter's dreams are on the line. The casters are announced. Who else but my favorite casters, James Bardolph and DDK. This is starting to turn exciting. The absolute best the EU can offer us. Nico, arguably best player in the world at this point. Olaf Meister, former best player in the world and CSGO legend maker. Guardian, one of the world's best oppers. Rain, a CSGO legend himself and ranked one of the best players in the world. Kerrigan, one of the most brilliant minds to ever touch the game. All of which have been at a finals before. Or going up against a no-shirt streamer, an egoist onliner, a challenge stage Andy, a second Asian, and Skadoodle, who none had ever been this far before. We all knew FaZe would win, but god damn it. This was our home. We weren't going to lose in our home, were we? We certainly weren't going to go down without swinging. The crowd made sure of that, at least. All that was left was the maps. We picked Mirage. Perfect. We could easily win that. Unfortunately, FaZe was smart and picked Overpass. A bad map for us, and one that they've been having good practice with lately. After the final bans went through, we were left with Inferno, which ultimately would come down to a coin flip again. Cloud9 have been having really good showings on Inferno, but so were FaZe. There was not a for sure answer, and that made the tension of the first map so much more. Because while we were good on Mirage, FaZe still had the best players in the world on their side. The game opens and James Bardoff, who, with his partner DDK, never casted a major finals before, opens the crowd up.
Make some noise in this bitch!
And like that, my adrenaline is through the roof. I'm ready to watch and see how my beloved knuckleheads stack up against the best players ever put under one roof. Cloud9 won pistol round, and we're feeling good. That's an almost guaranteed 3-round lead, as at this point in the game's history, it was common for the opposing team to force buy, meaning to spend all their money instead of saving. There's a whole economy game to the system too, but it's not important. Basically, a force buy is a gamble that you will aim better than the enemy team, and because winning a round gives more money than losing a round, force the other team to make the exact same decision. Most high-name teams force buy after a lost pistol round, full save the round after that, and then they have enough money to buy whatever they want, basically. But that's on the 4th round of the game. For Tees, that's a lot different, because the game is inherently CT-sided on a professional level. The most common scoreline after a half when the team switch side is 9-6, not 8-7 or 7-8, and usually in favor of the CT side. So, CT side was more favored. So if you can win 6 rounds as a terrorist, you're essentially in line with the win percentage of the other team. You could judge a game by halftime who's going to win most of the time. To go even further, some maps were heavily CT-sided. Nuke, for example, was an insanely CT-sided map. You'd see an 11-4 lead get reverse swept. Mirage was slightly CT-sided, but in general, one of the more balanced maps in the game. Winning a pistol round is good, but now they need to transfer. And of course, FaZe forced by the next round, as we knew they'd do. But Cloud9 do it, with no one dying at all, which is huge for the economy going forward for C9. Now they know they can't lose. Round 3 is the round the other team saves. It's common for a Hail Mary plan to happen fear, but FaZe play normally and we're up 3-0. FaZe gets a round on us, but we win the next 5 rounds in a row. Sure, FaZe cleans up the rest of the rounds, but we managed to sneak in one more before the end, and one round was only because Guardian basically 1v4'd.
Oh, Nico goes down straight away. That was maybe the only chance, but Guardian comes back in. Oh, Guardian, he gets 2. There's still more to go, though. Cloud9 must plant the bomb. The peaks come in, but Guardian will not stop. 1 more to go, and Guardian gets them all.
Making the first half score 6-9 with us going to the CT side. The favored side of our favored map. Things are looking good. Less good after FaZe won the pistol round, but thanks to some well-placed shots, Tarek and Skadoodle are able to pepper down FaZe into a force-buy win. Not only that, but no one even died. So, off the back of that, Cloud9 secure the next 2 rounds, and the score is 12-7. Things are looking good, but you know what they say about living in the sun. Eventually, the sun has to set. What happens next can only be described through the game, so I'll let the game tell the story for you.
That was clearly a nasty surprise for Automatic, but let's see if Skadoodle can hold on to this AWP. Olofmeister is charging through B apps at the moment, and Skadoodle will be exposed from the back.
Slowly creep in. They want to guarantee the trade. Rain finds an unknown angle, a blind spot, and he'll take full advantage. Ooh, there you go. That's a nice crack. Looks for the follow-up, but he can't find it. Distraction at play. He can get a free push through the smoke. Skadoodle's done. Rush is done. Only Automatic left alive for Cloud9 to try and survive with this M4. And he knows that if he holds on off, he can potentially get a kill and fall back and be safer, but
the game is now tied, and FaZe call a timeout. This is it. Cloud9 are on a buy round, but do not have enough money to buy again after this. They will be giving up 2 rounds effectively, barring miracles if they lose this round. 3 versus 2 in favor of Cloud9. Bomb site B, post plant. Olofmeister sits posted on catwalk, watching the mid rotations, while Guardian sits with an op beneath Beep apartments, watching CT kitchen to watch CT rotations and listen for flanks. A tough line to crack, especially with how little these players miss. Stewie gives away his position by throwing flash grenades for his teammates on rotation, but doing this gives Guardian knowledge, and he hits a shot on Stewie as he's entering sight. Because Rain lurks so long in mid, they know that both Rush and Automatic will be coming from Kitchen, so they both post up, with Guardian half measuring, make sure he can still see flank. Olaf kills Automatic, Guardian lays out Rush. Right there. That kill on Rush, that's when you can actually see my heart break. If I had a live recording of me watching this, I knew what was coming. The NA choke. It happened once before, and the curse seemed to be true. Team Liquid had it last year. Now it's Cloud9's turn. I'd watched the rest of the game, but it ended how you'd expect, with Cloud9 losing in an absolute nail-biter of a final round. That was it. Game over. There was nothing left. The next map was Overpass, and FaZe were known to dominate that map. Cloud9 had a positive win rate on it, sure, but FaZe had this in the bag. I left the stream open as I would enjoy the post-celebration and all the special things they had planned for the live stream at the end, but I wasn't going to actively watch my hopes be demolished. What I didn't know was that Cloud9 was to put on a masterclass of a CT side that NA had ever seen. After a 12-3 half, things were looking pretty good. A pistol round loss is expected. It is a CT-sided map after all, but what wasn't expected was two of the T's buying AK-47s, a gun that can one-shot headshot at near any range. This is because when the terrorist plants a bomb, the entire team gets more money regardless if you win or lose. And that combined with the extra kills they got, Skadoodle and Stewie with their AKs and Rush's glorious follow-up on an aggressive peak causes Cloud9 to not only upset the round, but transition that into a 14-4 lead. This was about the time my buddy messaged me on Discord and said to tune back in. And it was at this point, I was sure I had a curse. I watched C9 start to choke a 15-4 lead. Before I knew it, my eyes had just watched physically a 4 climb to a 10. I don't need them to style on FaZe. I take them around kicking and screaming. Just please one more. And that's basically what happened. Tarek and Automatic 2v4 a post-plant situation in a 16th round, and we've made it. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally arrived at our destination. The final map of a grand final of a major where a North American city is chosen out of the thousands of locations where a North American team has a real shot at winning something that has never been done by anyone before them. With my favorite casters casting the game, Inferno of the Boston 2018 Major Grand Finals between Cloud9 and FaZe. The greatest game of Counter-Strike ever played. The game opens up with Cloud9 on T side. Not great. Inferno is a massively CT-sided map, and things go even worse when Cloud9 lose the pistol round, creating a surefire 3-round deficit. But on round 2, Tarek manages to both open and close the round out for Cloud9 on a force buy, causing Cloud9 to take an early 3-1 lead. And thanks to an aggressive call from Tarek, the in-game leader at this time, by the way, create a situation where the other two players on FaZe have to save. Players will save when they don't for sure want to give up another round. It helps economy. So on a struggled round 5s from FaZe, we all wait to see if C9 can transfer. And who else opens the round? But Tarek again. This creates a 5-1 lead and things are looking extremely favorable. Sure, FaZe go on to win the next 8 rounds in a row, but we take the last 2, creating an 8-7 half going into CT side. We're looking good. But then, devastation. The B bomb site falls apart. Tarek takes 2 as payment, but no one else on FaZe dies this round, causing them to steamroll 3 rounds in a row. That's when it started to happen. Sure, we'd win around here and there, but FaZe was winning more than they were losing. 11-7, 13-8, 14-9. Soon, it was 15-11, and everyone was waiting for the inevitability to happen again. But then, who else but the content machine Tarek puts the game on his back and does this.
Olaf Meister maybe offering a fake towards the B bomb site. Meanwhile, the flash comes in towards A. Skadoodle in the smoke. Skadoodle taken down. Tarek's got to go huge here. He's got a crossfire with Rush. We've got Guardian in a short position, and he's exposed, but he goes down. Rush still alive. 4 versus 3. Spotting one player, maybe 2 towards the arc position. Now Olaf Meister's on short, but it's a flash, and he's taken down. Tarek is not done with this major yet. Here it is, Tarek!
What happens after this is something short the work of an angel. Perhaps some FPS deity. Nonetheless, it was truly miraculous. The game had been back and forth enough in the second half that FaZe was forced to eco, but we still have a huge problem. You see, the next round, 2 people die on the entry on C9, so Kerrigan and Guardian have site control, and worse still, Guardian is in the back of the site with an op, down one of the longest sight lines in the game. Worse still, 2 of C9 are rotating through here. Thankfully, for the moment, a smoke blocks the vision of Guardian, but he's been known to pull out wins with his signature weapon. But due to clever movement from the entirety of Cloud9 and honestly, Kerrigan making the misplay of flanking instead of holding sight cross for his opper, they managed to scrape together another win. 15-13. There are 2 rounds left. FaZe decide to save again. Smart, as they don't have a perfect buy this round, and since there's only 2 rounds left, why not have 1 good round instead of 2 bad rounds? They rush B site, but who do they come across but the 2 best Asians North America has to offer? Stewie and Automatic. Automatic unfortunately gets pushed into smoke and flanked, but Stewie gets a 3K in the round and is such a nuisance that C9 went off the round timer ending alone, but they kill everyone anyhow. And here we are. 15-14. This is it. Either we win this round and keep fighting this uphill battle, or we lose and never see the major trophy, and North America remains the laughingstock of the Counter-Strike community. Skadoodle never sees his trophy. But it was a good run, right? I mean, this is the farthest anyone's ever made it. And it's literally the last round in the final map of the grand finals. Both teams even upset the opposite team's map choice, showing they truly are both incredible teams. We may not win it, but we showed we stand toe-to-toe with the best players out there, and that should be good enough. But, you see, I mentioned something before. A dark horse. And who is this dark horse that could cause any amount of chaos to happen? Someone that was bred in it. Someone who got their start in the chaos. Someone who could do the impossible. Stewie 2K. And FaZe was about to learn this the hard way. They faked presence on the A bomb site, causing a rotation to happen from Automatic, leaving Stewie alone in the back of the bomb site. This, so far, is going according to Kerrigan's plan. However, Olaf Meister overpeaks and gets caught by Stewie. This leads to the greatest solo bomb site defense ever performed on CSGO, and one of the greatest CSGO moments ever recorded. Needless to say, the crowd loved it.
But Automatic's going towards A. Nothing else is going on. He's got to go back. Stewie's on his own. But look at the time. Look at the time. There's 7 seconds to plant the bomb. They're trying to build pyramids, but there's no more play. Stewie's won the round. We're going to overtime.
Cloud9 have done it. How have they done that? They came back all the way. All the way. How fitting it is Stewie to save them. The only man that could. The only man in position. Never wavering, never faulting. They give themselves another chance, and you have to wonder where are FaZe's heads at after that one.
So now we're here. Overtime. First to win 4 of 6. Overtime also has max money, but it's not important. Basically, both teams can buy whatever they want, and it's just a showing of pure skill versus skill. Cloud9 take the first round, but it's close. Next round comes in and it's less close, but C9 have seemed to hit a stride and their defense is looking solid. Like, really solid. FaZe have to save this round as they didn't get enough kills and bought a lot of expensive guns rounds prior, so this is looking like a 3-0 lead in overtime. But, due to a clever flank from Rain, Cloud9 barely managed to scrape a win in a 2v2 situation, with Tarek taking out Olaf in a post-plant situation with barely any health alive. Too close for comfort, but hey, We're switching sides, and we just need one win, one round. We should be able to... Oh, reverse swept. Cool. Okay. So now we're here in overtime 2, which, honestly, for a major grand final, overtime is rare enough on its own. We're in overtime 2, and FaZe opens with a CT-sided win. That's expected, but it still feels bad. 19-18. But then, the next round, this happens.
Situation's even better at the minute mark now, and Stewie's moving away from B.
He could do this before, but this time he's been discovered. Tarek will take him down, and it's a 5v4 for Cloud9 with 40 seconds to go. And Carrigan, he can't reposition. He has to frag! He has to frag, and he gets only one. And now that's Cloud9 moving quickly towards B. They have the utility. But Olofmeister on the flank. Can he catch Rush here? Rush pops up. And Rush is knocked down. Whack-a-mole there for Olofmeister, but Guardian still in position. They managed to get there fast enough. The bomb has to be planted, and Cloud9 out of this advantage.
Tarek, brave enough to just hold the bomb plant. He knows Guardian's in construction, trying to back off, trying to reposition. Sees him, tags him, but doesn't frag him. Holding the angle once again, but does he go high, does he go low? It is a dance, and now they concede multiple angles. Tarek going, takes Olofmeister down. Guardian on 11 HP. Rain peaks, and he gets the angle now. Superior angle. Is there a defuse for the CT side? They're not on it just yet. They're spamming the grenades. They're touching the bomb. And now goes Rain. And now the bomb is trying to defuse it again, but no!
That's right. Tarek killed every enemy player himself, or what's known as acing. Rare enough on their own, but in a major final, a feat to achieve for sure. Not only that, but it's a T-sided round. We've seen C9's defense, and it's incredibly well done. This could be the round we needed to gain an edge. In fact, the morale from Tarek's ace was so well received by his team that 4 of C9 survive in the final round of the first half, easily giving us a second T-sided round. And now, we're on CT side. Both teams deal blows until Nico and Guardian have Skadoodle surrounded on site. It's currently a 2v3, but certain to be a 2v2 in a matter of moments. After all, Nico, the Demon Slayer himself, is clearing Skadoodle out. But Skadoodle then pulls out something a little interesting. By dropping the smoke and becoming as annoying as possible to clear off site, he gained his team time to rotate, causing both FaZe members to get swarmed by the remaining CTs. And we're here again. One round away from making or breaking history. The round begins and my heart is absolutely pumping. I can only imagine what it's like for those players on that stage that day. But nonetheless, the round starts all the same. Skadoodle opping A site with Tarek and Rush defending A halls, while Stewie opts B site with automatic to support him. But this was also pretty far from normal. I mean, listen to this crowd. Skadoodle gets pressured out of mid and throws counter utility, but Kerrigan isn't wavered. Even with his back against the wall, he knows what you're thinking. Kerrigan pushes the smoke and gets a devastating position on the B bomb site flank and rotate. But here's the thing. Tarek was born online. He knows about the funny flank, so he punishes Kerrigan. But because the flank was called, Stewie is out of position for the push on B site, so Nico kills him. Automatic, playing anti-flash, peeks over the smoke on Flowerpot and gets the trade using Automatic and gets rewarded with a frag on Olofmeister. But because Rain is in position for the smoke, he blind fires through and trades on Tarek. 3v3. Automatic pushes the smoke and trades Rain, but Guardian finally finishes planting the bomb. Only 4 seconds, by the way, and trades Automatic. Now, it's a 1v2. Bombs down. Guardian has an op in the back of a bomb site. If this was any other player, you'd have his bet stacked against him. But he sits at the back of the site. He peeks CT for a push through the smoke, but it never comes. He knows one is rotating from mid, as utility came from that direction, but is Skadoodle with him? Or did he go CT? He has to bang on both coming from Banana, as he needs to create space for himself to work with. He aims where Rush is about to peak. And for one brief moment, the entire world stood still. No one made a sound. Everyone wanted the same thing, but we wouldn't believe it until we saw it. And then?
Patiently, as Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh! Oh, it's happened! They made it work! Cloud9 are your E-League Major champions!
That is the most insane way to win a major. It could hardly have been more difficult. They weren't the favorites, they were the underdogs. They were a heavy underdogs, but they did it for North America. Skadoodles won the major!
This has to be one of the most incredible storylines we've ever had. A North American team in North America with a major win. That is truly incredible. The class, resilience, the strength, time and again that they've shown is something very special indeed.
The best Cloud9 we have ever seen with the most difficult run. Cloud9, the E-League Major champions. FaZe Clan came a long way down. They came a very long way. Everybody felt like it was their major.
The boy who I learned about all the way back in 2015, who couldn't even make it to Legends stage, was finally sitting on the throne. He had done it. We had done it. North America had won its first, and to be honest with you, only major in Counter-Strike history against the best team ever constructed before. 5 online Andes, who mainly just joked around and farmed Twitch clips, managed to beat people that, if Counter-Strike is still around a decade from now, will still be talked about as legends. Everyone loves an underdog story, and this is one I've been waiting to share with you for a long time. But I suppose if you've been watching this far, I owe you something. You see, I've been lying this entire time. This video essay isn't about the greatest game of Counter-Strike ever played. I mean it when I say it, but this video essay isn't about that. It's a video essay about how a video game can make a 20-year-old go beetle position screaming in joy at his computer monitor, only to 20 seconds later start crying when his favorite opera won his first trophy. How 5 years later he can re-watch that game and still feel the emotions he felt on that day. And why did I, the Dead by Daylight casual child's game enjoyer, make a video about a dead FPS game that's been overtaken by a shinier, newer model? Because this game refuses to die. This game just recently had a 1.3 million concurrent player count, making it the most played game on Steam, breaking its previous count from 2018. This is in 2023. Its majors are still electric and roaring with energy. The people still love this game and the personalities that come with it. I might not know a lot about the pro scene anymore, but the new FaZe lineup is one of my favorites since the moment back in 2018. And I sure know how to pick them because they just snagged the shiny new major trophy. And I caught a glimpse that day of how I felt back in my mother's attic, yelling loud enough that she could hear me. Those moments, those emotions are some of the most raw feelings someone could feel, and I want to indoctrinate as many new people into it as I can. I love this game. I said it in the beginning and I'll say it again. This game has brought me so many memories. Maybe all it takes is a shiny new form of polish to bring back some of those great players, some of that incredible talent, or even possibly some of our old friends. But it goes beyond that. Video games were meant to be works of art that someone could interact with. But who knew what it would become, what it could still become? Ultimately, though, this is about my love for you, the viewer, and my incessant want to share stories. I hope you enjoyed this one. Stay safe, stay happy, and good night.